Okay, today we're talking about jumping timelines. What does that mean? To jump timelines. This has to do with the Mandela effect, and we're going to talk a little bit about this. So I was really like, okay, so what is it? First of all, I went to sleep and I was like, I'm going to get all the answers in my dreams, because I always do for Camp Church. I go to sleep on Saturday night. I wake up on Sunday morning with a full sermon. Great. Well, I'll tell you what I got later. I got some information, but I was like, how am I supposed to apply that? And why is this important? And I started thinking this morning about all these things, like, why are we caring about the Mandela effect? Why are we caring about timelines? This is the first thing I want to talk about. Is this idea that we're going to talk about, is it going to benefit you? When you think about these things, do they scare you? Do they make you feel better? These are words to try to describe emotional realities that we experience. Ooh, another fairy. Do you guys see all these fairies? They're flying around today. Do you feel the emotional reason behind what you believe? What I'm going to tell you today is not truth. These are theories about reality. And what you can take on is, does this theory of reality, what does it mean to jump timelines? I'm going to show you guys a picture that I made. Where is it? It's not here. Hang on. This Photoshop. All right, I'm gonna save the picture and then put it on. It's on my screen, but it's not on your screen, so we'll save it as a JPEG. And we'll open it in Paint because I want to draw on it as an example. Okay, open this picture. Okay, well, I was going to do it in different layers, but that's okay. I'm going to show it to you all at once. Oh, wait, I think I found it. Okay, sorry. This always takes I feel like it doesn't take that long, and then when I rewatch Cam Church, I'm like, oh my god, it took 5 minutes to do that. That's okay though. You guys know how to finish. Okay, so I was gonna show this to you, not all at once, but that's okay. We're gonna explain what it is. Okay, so this is how I see the world, and if you're on Instagram, you will see the diagram if you go to YouTube or Periscope, but I suggest YouTube. Are we doing a book club anytime soon? Yeah, we might be reading Christina Martin's new book. Okay, so imagine, I was going to show you this picture without the, help me if I can do that. Hang on, I'm going to save this also. Thank you guys for being patient. Okay, where's Paint? I'm going to open up this name. Let's start here. Okay? This is the world. This is how I see the world. So these are different energy densities. Okay? So we've got maybe a denser energy field down here. And then as you move up, it gets lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter until you're closer to harmony. You're closer to the divine. The color spectrum, the visible light spectrum of the rainbow works really well for this because it is associated to not only our chakra points, but also the, thank you, Abigail. You guys are so nice. This is the best. I feel so blessed. I feel so blessed. This is just like the notes on a scale. Okay, so let's say this is red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, violet. Then it's red, orange, yellow, green. Okay, so it's not actually red, but it's the same quality. So just like C is C in an octave, we have energy fields that are the same quality as you jump up infinitely. So you've got the lower density of our visible light spectrum, which is a denser energy field. The waveforms are slower, and as you get up, they go faster. And that's just the truth. As you go up energetically and as you go down energetically below the visible light spectrum, our thoughts are actually on the electromagnetic spectrum, and it also aligns to this reality. So when we think of the world as a sea of energy, we can see that the rainbow is a really good reflector for different densities of energy. Okay, let's talk about what this represents in real life. So let's say you have, I don't want to be judgmental, so I'm going to try to present something in a way that is not judgmental. But there is going to be a lower way of frequency. I could talk maybe about my own life, where when I had depression, I was in fear, pain, anxiety, judgment, insecurity, and I didn't feel strong enough to stand up for myself. So I was in a lower density vibration. Then I started to have boundaries. I started to believe what I wanted to believe. I started to trust myself. I started to have a closer connection to something higher. I started to be more creative. I started to have better people in my life. Again, through setting boundaries, rising up, having more opportunities. And so it goes up and up and up and up. And if you're on the right timeline, you can get up to a high level of reality where it is not dense, where things flow in a harmonious way, where the divine comes through for you. Okay, so I have a chart of timelines to show you. This is an example of a potential life path from the higher realms. Before you're born, you see this and you say, okay, here's all the opportunities where I can make choices that are either going to bring me up higher or bring me down lower. And here's where I'm going to need, thank you, AF Fluent for USB. I get to, we are also blessed today. It's true, Max. So maybe I'm in the higher realms, I'm planning my life on earth, and I say, okay, here's my potential reality. I have all these potentials that I could do, and here are some places where this is going to be a really important juncture, let's say right here. Because if I don't make, or let's say it's this one, if I don't make this jump, and then this jump, I'm going to end up on a timeline that is maybe a little bit stifled. Doesn't mean you don't have any opportunity to rise up, but you could potentially. So this is what I'm trying to say. This is how it works. You're born, right? Let's make this a thick line. You're born right here. You're born into whatever frequency. You can't choose what frequency you're born into. Your parents, your upbringing, this is the house that you're born into. It's going to be whatever frequency. It's probably kind of low because most people on earth are kind of low. So you're born into this frequency. I would say this is a pretty high frequency to be born into. And then as you're a kid, you get to make choices and you decide what to align yourself with. Oh, you're a bully and you start to beat people up at school. Okay. Oh, now you're, a teenager and you get to either make a decision to start being kind. And then you get like a really good friend who really helps you out. So they help you make some more better decisions. And it's up to you, like at these junctures. So every day you have multiple opportunities to make these decisions, to either go on a good path or a bad path. And what I mean by good and bad is that there are two options in this world, only two. And you get the opportunity to choose between those two options multiple times a day. And every choice that you make is going to either help or hinder your progress towards divinity. Those two options are, do you want to be on an upward spiral or do you want to be on a downward spiral? And that's why I drew this like this. You get these opportunities and you follow your path. And if you always are making choices to be humble, to let your higher self through, to let your ego step aside, to honor it, but let it step aside and not make your decisions for you. If you take every opportunity for growth, if you just constantly keep trying every day to be the best you can be, then you will get to a place where divinity is your reality. This is not a very good drawing because you can make mistakes and you can come back from them. I'm not saying every decision you make has to be good. But what I am saying is that every day you have the opportunity to choose if you want to do something that is going to be better for you on the highest level or something that's going to serve fear or pain. And when you serve fear and pain, or when you choose, do you serve fear and pain or do you serve unconditional love for yourself and for the world? And when you choose one of those things, you align your energy, you decide between those two things. And if you align your energy, when I was depressed, when I was in this lower vibration here, I was choosing to align with fear and pain. I was saying, I dedicate myself to fear and pain because that is what the world is, and that is what I believe is truth. That is what I believe has value. And I made decisions that constantly brought me lower and lower in density until I tried to kill myself. Then I started making decisions that could bring me higher and higher. But because I was so low, it took me many, 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 many days, months, weeks, years, collectively of decisions to slowly work my way up this chart to get to a place where I am in a higher vibrational alignment to unconditional love, to my higher self. And what that offers you, what that gives you, if you choose the upward spiral, is unlimited opportunities to do the work of your true heart. And maybe that's me as a Capricorn rising really vibing on that, because I love the work of my true heart is like, as a Capricorn rising, that's like, that sounds so good. Maybe other people like, that doesn't sound fun. I don't like work. To spend your days in your ultimate fantasy. Maybe that's a better way of describing it. When you get higher and higher vibrationally, you're in a different reality. And that's what it means to jump timelines. So jumping timelines doesn't mean you're in a different world than other people. You're in the same world. But I really liked what someone at this party said. They said, some people are living in different realities for real. I said, yeah, it's true. You ever try to have a conversation with someone and you cannot communicate with them? You cannot seem to get through to them. They are on a different reality. And that's what it means to be on a different timeline. So these people, their realities are just as valid. They are just as legitimate as any other reality. This is what comes into personal reality and physical reality and shared reality in Unicult. Our shared reality is that we are all occupying Earth. Our spiritual reality is that Earth is being split right now into two distinct realities, where there's going to be two distinct spiritual realities, where people are going to either continue to live in a fear-based reality, and when I was performing, my microphone gave feedback. So just like that happens where it's so high-pitched, just like that, fear and pain, it's going to just reverberate through their bodies and their minds and the world. And they're still going to have an opportunity to step out of that and come into the place of natural harmony, because there's going to be a huge infrastructure. And that's really the work that I'm here to help do, is create the infrastructure the scaffolding between the lower and the higher realities for people to understand that they have an option to not stay in fear and pain. They have an option to help ascend into this higher way of being. So what are multiple timelines? What does it mean? First of all, ask yourself what makes you happy. Does it make you scared to feel like you're going to be left behind? Do not believe that. First of all, if you're even thinking about these things, if you're even trying to be aligned with the light, you're fine. If you're someone who chooses sometimes to be aligned with darkness and sometimes to be aligned with light, and you're in that sort of midway place, it's gonna be because the earth is having these two distinct things, you're gonna have these really extreme up and downs because you're jumping into another reality and you're falling into another one. And if you like that, then do it. If you can't help it, then just keep focusing your energy on whichever one you want to do. I'm not judging anyone. If people choose to follow a timeline that is detrimental, it's going to be detrimental to themselves. And why would you do that to yourself? Sometimes there's self-loathing, sometimes there's insecurity, but that's all bullshit that the world has taught you. So if society has told you that you don't deserve to be happy, or whatever your belief sets are that make you feel like you have to live in lack or poverty or misery, or you feel like self-sacrifice is what's bringing you like your true, like what you need, and you're just hurting yourself, that's not how the universe works. Fear and pain are just guidelines to get you back on the path of light. The reason why it feels so good to love yourself and to be the shining light is because that's what the universe wants. To shine your light and to let it light up the radiance of everyone else so everyone can feel it is a blessing to us all. Yeah, if you go between, and part of it is that can be your path too, if you go between the light and the dark a lot, then you're going to get really good at understanding how to do that. It's up to you. You're also someone who gets to build that scaffolding between the two worlds. So it's up to you to understand, this is my advice. If you keep going in between darkness and lightness in a rapid pace, do what you can to keep your wits about you as you go up and down. Do what you can to create an observation bubble. Put yourself in an observation bubble and be like, whoa, I'm down low. How did I get here? Am I going to get back up? And then watch yourself as you go back up from your observation bubble and be like, oh, wow, I'm back up. I'm really high up. How did I do that? And take notes. Notice the techniques and the methods that you use to go from the low to high. Notice what causes you to fall from the high to the low. And if you can have that awareness, because a lot of times we're so wrapped up emotionally, we get blinded and we're like on the roller coaster. But if we can step back and see the roller coaster, we can say, wow, how did that happen? Oh, that was a curve. You can do so much more for yourself and others. That's a super powerful healing skill. I used to only be on the darker side. Now I'm in a state where I'm learning to stay and grow in the light, but I'm occasionally falling back down. It's practice, but I'm still learning. Yes, it took me years. You can read my journals. I have one journal where I go for like page after page of like divine channeling. And then like on the next page, it's like the pen is so thick, it's like through the paper. It's like, what the fuck do I know? I don't know about anything. It's just like, whoa. Because it's so extreme. Nicole asks, do you have any advice on not fearing to communicate with beings you're not familiar with? I always set my protection. So I say I only allow beings with the highest intention to communicate with me. So if you don't have that high intention, you're not allowed to communicate with me. And then anyone who comes through has the highest intention, and then I'm not afraid because I already set that protection. So as far as like the Mandela effect and things like that, you know, have you ever had someone in your life, usually it's like a romantic partner, and you're like, oh yeah, remember last Thursday when I said that the sky was blue? And they're like, the whole point of that was that you said the sky was pink, it wasn't blue. And then you guys have an argument about something very basic and simple. We also get to see things like Laurel versus Yanni, that that audio clip that people couldn't decide if they could hear Laurel or Yanni. And then we also get to see the blue and white dress, or the gold and black dress. It's the same image, but everyone sees it differently. So that's, I believe, what we're talking about when we're talking about switching timelines. We're talking about these different realities. Based on your personal reality, based on your choices, based on the density of your frequency, based on your perception of the world, based on your experiences, based on your upbringing, based on so many factors, you as a sensor of energy, an energy sensor, is going to be interpreting the world in your own personal reality way. And we cannot try to force one another to experience reality in the same way as we do, because it's not possible and it's not kind. What are two sensors? It's like taking two different pictures. It's like taking a picture with an iPhone or an Android, okay? And you compare the pictures and you say, you look at your picture and you say, no, it's supposed to look like this. And the other person says, no, it's supposed to look like this. And it's like, no, you just have two different sensors. You just have two different cameras. They're gonna take pictures a little differently. That's just how cameras work. And that's just how people work too. We're seeing roughly the same thing, but we're internalizing it and understanding it and spitting it back out in very different ways. So whether or not someone could die and then not have died, I don't know. Again, follow what makes you happy to believe. I can't say for certain about that. I can only talk about energy frequencies and choices we make. There's so much pressure to eliminate alternative experiences. Yes, there is. Thank you. I had to really dig for it. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me for Cam Church. Thank you so much for the donations. Really appreciate it. And thank you for being in Telepathy Training Program Club. Thank you for signing up on Patreon. Thank you for buying things from Unicult Supply Co. I am so grateful. Are you looking at different timelines as a matter of perspective and not actual alternate dimensions? I believe that Earth right now is going through, I thought so much about this, Muscle Dragon, about how I would describe this. And it's like, I think that I don't feel comfortable enough preaching it, honestly. But the way that I see it is that it's so ambiguous. But we have these opportunities to grab onto different timelines. And our consciousness, it's like I showed with the branches, and our consciousness goes into that one. And then I believe that energetically on Earth, there can be delineations and distinctions. I think the most dramatic delineation and distinction is happening right now of these two higher and lower realities. So maybe as we go from, let me see if I can draw this. These are some tough questions you guys got me thinking about. Okay, let's say that this is Earth itself. And everybody is, so I believe there are two distinct timelines that are happening right now, which are the one of light and love and the one of fear and pain. And this is over time. So this is as we are moving through time. So imagine it's a chart, and this is like today, and this is like 2021. Okay. So okay, let me see here. Here's an example. This is an individual, and they're going about their life. They were born here, and they're making their decisions. And then 2012 happens. And in 2012, they go, oh my God, I completely understand. This is crazy. Oh, wow, I'm enlightened now. Okay, so and then now they're in 2021. That's an example. So we'll say this is 2012. And there's quite a few people who experienced this as their example. Apparently, I cannot make this font smaller. Okay, that's 2012. Getting into design here. Okay, now somebody else did not wake up in 2012. And they're still eating meat, and they're still thinking gay people suck, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Oh, 2018 happened. They're starting to get some emotional reality. Oh, okay. 2018. Oh my God. I just suddenly realized I was being a bigot. Oh my God. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm in the higher realms. So we've got 2018 over here, and this is somebody who's woken up in 2018. So what we've got happening here is this middle area of this chart. And what I mean is this area here is not a solid state. This is a mid state. This isn't really solidly one reality or another. This is a sort of ambiguous, amorphous reality. And so in this weird amorphous reality, there are different chunks of timelines that are happening. So let's say it's like this. Okay, let's say that in this version of reality, I'm going to keep them in this amorphous place, actually. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to describe this. Sorry. Okay, and then let's say we've got somebody who, just for example's sake, we've got somebody who has, before 2012, they were born actually into a pretty enlightened family, and they became enlightened before 2012 even happened. So in this amorphous place, in this middle band, this place that I'm talking about here, in between the higher and the lower realities, we've got a place of unformed potential where different realities could be happening. I'm making this all up. This is all imaginary, theoretical stuff. This has no bearing on truth. This is because I was not even planning on describing this. This is just my best guess at how the Mandela effect happens. Okay? Again, believe what you want. This is how I see it. There's a chunk of amorphous infinite potential in between the higher and lower density realities that we're giving the opportunity to ascend or descend into. As we traverse through this amorphous place, we have, it's sort of like a in movies when they go through they go through a portal, and then like they come out and like they experience something different than somebody else did as they were going through that portal. It's like that. So your time, your time that you go through this portal is going to change what kind of reality you experienced as you went through it. So in this reality, Mandela died. So people who went through this reality at this time, this section of the amorphous reality, they experienced Mandela dying. Then people who went through this portion of reality, he didn't die, because it's a place of unlimited potential. So it depends on, as you're going through it, it's like quantum physics. when you look at something, depending on when you look at it, it changes when it is. So as you're going into this space, as you're going through it, you're going through this portal, reality could be anything. And it's going to look a little like the old reality. It's going to look like a little like the new reality because there is some kind of mechanism of consistency. I don't know what it is. But there's more amorphism than solidity. So now we're in this reality, and then we all have to contend with whatever we experienced as we were transcending these two more solid realities. And we all have to say, okay, well, we're all in this reality now where this is true and this is true and this is true. But I distinctly remember that that wasn't true over here. I believe that's what happens. Okay, I think you're saying that in the amorphous region, it's more common for branching points to go up and down, whereas if you're in the upper region, branching points are less. Okay, I don't. Okay, hang on. Okay, hang on. I don't think that you believing one thing or another makes you higher or lower. I don't think that your choices necessarily create the reality, whether Mandala is dead or alive. I don't think that has to do with your emotional reality, except that because you're on your own unique path, you're going to be entering into this mystery zone. We're calling this area the mystery zone. This is 3D, and this is 5D. And this is theoretically 4D, right? But 4D, the fourth dimension is time. So when you're going through the literal dimension of time, I don't mean from the third dimension where you're like da 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 da, but when you become aligned with the actual reality of time itself, anything is possible. When you're in the fifth dimension, you can do more emotional time traveling and you can understand things from a different perspective. You're looking down and up are not really working here, but we're going to use it. Down on time. But as you go through this mystery zone of the fourth dimensional reality, things do not happen in the same way. There's more potential for discrepancies. It's not your fault. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just that what you remember happening is because you were in sort of mystery zone of time before you got into 5D, where now things are set and more solid. How do you know which dimension you're in? Is your life full of fear and pain? Or is your life full of light and love? Do the black bars represent thresholds that are harder to traverse? Not harder, just more of a solid. It's a box, actually. So this is a more solid reality. This is a more solid reality. This is a more amorphous reality, where anything is kind of possible. And then anything is possible in 5D, but because you're manifesting it, because you're in control of it. In 4D, anything is possible and you're not in control. It's very uncomfortable. Did the Mandala effect exist before we had a name for it? I think yes, but I think it's kind of unique to this time because we are ascending as a planet. It's a planetary ascension. So we're ascending as a planet from fear and pain into light and love. And now Muscle Dragon is going to really give me a run for my money today. Let's discuss hacking the amorphous reality to jump into a timeline that one wants, even time travel. I don't believe that you would want to do much attempt at hacking the fourth dimension. I would say get into 5D, live your life of light and love, and then start looking at Aurora's paintings. Aurora has paintings that are descriptive of time and space travel using only unconditional love, and she has a description and understanding of that. So I would follow Flying Rainbow Lasagna for that. If your life is filled with fear and pain, then you just get to make choices every day about aligning yourself with light and love. So you get to choose every minute of every day, okay, I'm in fear and pain. How can I choose light and love? If you want to. If you don't, you can stay in fear and pain. It's up to you. But they're not, it's like you're meant to eat, you're not meant to starve. So it's like you're meant to go on like a higher path because that's what makes you feel good. It's like you're meant to eat because that's what makes you feel good. You're not meant to stay hungry. If you're starving yourself and you're just hungry all the time, you're just like, oh, I'm so hungry. Oh, I feel lightheaded. Oh, I feel dizzy. Oh, I feel sick. Oh, I'm losing my hair. Why am I losing my hair? Oh, everything sucks. I'm really not going to eat. Food is the worst. But it's like, actually, if you just eat, that's what you're supposed to do. You can be healthy. It's hard when you have an eating disorder, I know. And I think that some of these things, staying in fear and pain, can be kind of like emotional disorders. And that's why we get to decide every day, no, I'm going to choose to be healthy. Nope, I'm going to choose to live in light and love. I'm going to choose what nourishes me. I'm going to choose to step out of fear and pain. What if some areas of your light is life and love and others have fear and pain? Set boundaries for the things and do your best to envision a future where they transmute and transform into light and love. You can have a life. You can have a life that is 100% light and love. If I told that to myself 5 years ago, I would have laughed until I cried and said, no, I can't. But since those 5 years have passed, I have aligned myself over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And it's been very difficult, but I've just found the strength in me because I know the value and I want to live in love and light. And I've got to a place of near constant joy through radical self-love. And through doing that, through setting boundaries, through aligning myself constantly, making these decisions, making these choices, my life now, 98% light and love. 98%. I have a 2% little like, what's going on there? But then I acknowledge it's probably for my higher growth. And that's what you learn. You learn to take every challenge, every bit of difficulty, and you say, how can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? Don't forget that one of the best ways to tap into the seventh dimension is by getting someone a gift from Unicult Supply Co. I wish I could have said that with a straight face, but it's too funny. Meditation is a great way to raise your vibration. There's a million ways. Your vibration is your vibration. As the angel Marie Kondo says, find what sparks joy and keep it. Whatever doesn't spark joy, get rid of it. That's a serious spiritual practice. What sparks joy? Joy is easy to discern. Spencer, what are you talking about? Diabetes. Are you talking about diabetes medication? Diabetes is a serious health issue. And sometimes it's connected to diet, so I don't know. I haven't seen the commercial. I don't watch TV, so I haven't seen the commercials you're talking about. I had a wake-up call recently and was led to Unicult. Welcome. A spark of joy, a beacon of hope. You guys, thank you for this beautiful, complex, deep, and... Oh, she is a fairy. She's a fairy angel. Marie Kondo. She is a fairy. Yeah, she's a fairy angel. Oh, I love to hear that, Intro Prospector. You open my mind. I love to have my mind opened. Do you guys like to have your mind open? Does it feel good? On a scale of 1 to 5, does it feel really, really, really bad? 1. Does it feel really, really, really good? 5. I did my best to explain this, and like I said, who knows what's true? This is my theoretical interpretation of reality that helps me feel grounded in a way that helps me feel like I understand the world, the chaos of the world. If it doesn't help you, don't believe it. Make up your own thing. 8, 5, 5, 5,000, 5, 1, no, 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 no. I hope that means like way more than 5, not like 1 a lot of times. 5, 5, 101, 101, 101, 4. I like that honest 4. All right, you lovely, lovely Unicultists. Thank you for your attention. It is my joy, and I will see you next Sunday. Uni bless!